Hello, both sides of the conversation family. We welcome you to this virtual space crafted especially for you. My name is Jada Curry, and I'm both sides of the conversation's marketing director and graphics design specialist. I want to take some time to ground us all as a community into this space we are about to open up in, so let's go through our community standards. Both sides of the conversation is providing a safe and honest space for open conversation, so we ask that you all be respectful of that. We also ask that you be respectful of each panelist, host, and participant. We do encourage healthy debates and conversations. Don't personalize anything with anyone. This includes name-calling, bullying, trolling, or shaming. This will not be allowed or tolerated. Your perspective is yours. It is not a prescription. You do not have to agree, but show respect. These community standards apply to all of our live shows and any virtual spaces that we hold on social media, including YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram. We want to make sure that we are caring for each other as a community. This is our priority in all of our endeavors as both sides of the conversation. With that being said, I hope you enjoyed today's show and continue to stay in touch with us via YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, or all of them. All right, thank you for listening and see you soon.
Welcome, everybody, to both sides of the conversation. I'm John Henry, Executive Director. Today is Sunday, so you know what that means. We're going to have another Sunday conversation. Today is an impactful conversation as we talk about the relationship between community violence and trauma. And we know in our communities, we've been impacted heavily when we talk about trauma and violence in our community. So I'm just excited today for today's conversation. And I'm looking forward to seeing how today turns out. I know community, it's been raining hard. The rain has been coming down. Be safe out there. This little atmospheric river bomb has been dropping some nice rain out here. So I hope everybody is doing well. And I know it's going to continue throughout most of the week next week. So stay dry, be safe out there, slow down, and just make sure that you're doing everything you do in your ability to check on your loved ones and elders in the community to make sure that they're doing okay through this storm. Also, it's been another violent weekend in our community. Every week we just keep thinking that we're going to get out of the week without tragic news. But again, we've been having tragedy just happen throughout the Bay Area and beyond when we talk about community violence and gun violence. So there's a lot of work we got to do. And today is a great conversation to kick it off. We got to get some solutions, and we got to get some folks in the community who's ready to stand up and lead by example, and really put in the time to invest in our young people as well as our community needs. So with that being said, today I got my co-hosts. They are here today. Miss Khalees, holla at the people today.
Yes. Hello, community. So glad to be here on this Sunday. It's really wet outside, but hey, we have shelter. So I'm appreciative and glad to be here on this Sunday. Great topic, and look forward into interacting with our community.
And thank you as well for being here. We got Miss Jocelyn, the coach, the health coach. Great conversation on Thursday. Welcome back. Holla at the people.
Hey, everyone. And I'm glad to be back. I know today's been a rainy day, but you know what? Sometimes these are the best days to have conversations. A lot of healing that I'm looking forward to here. So I'm excited about what we're going to talk about today. So welcome for all that are new, that are popping on. But yes, we have a great subject today.
Man, definitely. For everybody that's watching, if you would like to add comments or be a part of the conversation, if you're on our YouTube page, our Facebook page, or our Facebook group, just go ahead and put your comments in there, and we'll ask the panelists to have a conversation on your conversation that you're asking for or your question. So please use the live chat on our YouTube channel, both sides of the conversation, and we'll get your comments up there on the screen. To get into some of the news that's going on in the community, we're going to jump into the National City Teacher of the Year was rearrested again on additional charges, including child porn possession. The award-winning national teacher who was arrested last week on suspicion of child sex and abuse was arrested again. Thursday, posted bail on additional felony charges, including possession of child pornography, the National City Police said. On March 7th, Jacqueline Ma, 34, who was a teacher at Lincoln Acres Elementary School, was arrested on sexual child abuse charges after concerned parents suspected that her 13-year-old child was possibly having an inappropriate relationship with the former teacher. Ma was booked into the county detention center on 3 or 4 counts of lewd acts and lewd acts with the minor under 14. That's what the department put out. It's just terrible that our kids can't even be sacred inside of our schools. All right. The very place that we send our children to be. And these are the type of adults and type of folks that we have around our children and adults. We got to do a better job. But shout out to those parents for being involved and really being able to see what was going on and intervene. So shout out to them and community. Make sure you're doing your part to ask questions when your children come home and make sure everything is good. All right. With that being said, 8 were killed, including a gunman at a Jehovah's Witness Hall shooting in Germany. Very tragic news to say 8 people were killed. They said that a gunman walked into one of Jehovah's Witness community spaces and unloaded rounds. The ages of folks that were hit were between 30 and 40 years old. What took place or was cited, authorities are still saying that they are unknown. Again, tragic news. Again, where do we have sacred spaces at? We always ask that question here at both sides of the conversation. If you can't be safe in the church, if you can't be safe in our areas of prayer and worship, where are we safe at? Community, where's our sacred spaces? All right. With that being said, there was 6 bodies and 154 remains recovered from a Hayward warehouse here in the Bay Area. Sheriff said that 6 bodies and 154 cremated remains were recovered this month from a Hayward warehouse linked to Ocean View crematory. Man, I guess the folks that was doing the cremating, their license were suspended. So I guess they went to this third party place to do it. Very tragic stuff, tragic for those families, not only losing their loved ones and then having this type of stuff happen is very tragic stuff. But again, the Alameda County officials are still investigating. They're still looking for folks who have questions and information. So again, we'll keep community posted as we hear more and more about those situations in Hayward. Also, a man was crushed to death while trying to steal a Cadillac converter in Oakland. They said his 30-year-old man was killed when the car crushed him when he was trying to steal Cadillac converters. Y'all know here in the Bay Area, that's been one of the highest crimes going on. People stealing Cadillac converters, going to recycle them and things of that nature. And unfortunately, this guy lost his life trying to do it. But again, community, the times that we are in, this is why it's so important to make sure the resources and things that we have for community gets out to community as more and more folks are dealing with the struggle of, extra income and things of that nature. So very tragic to hear that, but that did take place. And again, there was a shooting that took place. A young man was killed while in a hospital here in Oakland. More information to come out about that. Again, tragic news for someone to come off the street, go into a hospital for a gun violence victim who was already trying to recover from being shot and was actually killed. But we'll get more of that information out as we hear more. But very tragic stuff happening around the Bay Area and around the U.S. this weekend. And we just got to continue to do our part, community. It's going to be a lot of work. It's going to take all of us. We got to work in solidarity, continue to work with our young people, continue to engage with our elders. And really, we got to get some leadership, some folks who really step and stand and lead by example. So with that being said, I'm going to turn it over to the team for our community events. And then we'll go ahead and get started with today's conversation.
All right, all right. Let's go over some of these events. So we have a lot here that's going on here in the community. Coalition of Africans in the Diaspora, Black Migrants Navigating the Legal System. So they're going to have some great speakers on March 14th. It's going to be at 6:30 p.m. to 8 p.m. So if you're interested in that, make sure you register at eventbrite.com. So let your voice be heard, y'all. DKI presented by Supervisor Shaman Walton, March 14th. We're going to be talking about the reparations plan is going to be presented, y'all. We need to show up and show out. It's going to be on the steps at 12 p.m. Okay, they're going to have the Board of Supervisor meeting at 3 p.m. at the San Francisco City Hall, room 250. Now, if y'all cannot make it, y'all can also represent on Zoom. So let's go. 415-665-0001. Okay, and the meeting ID will be in the comments. So y'all make sure y'all come back to this video and click on the comments and get on that Zoom meeting, okay? Because we need y'all there. We need y'all to represent. I mean, we want the dollars to stay in our community. We want money. Look, we need cash, okay, at the end of the day. So make sure you let your voice be heard there. Alameda County tenants, know your legal rights. Are you in the risk of losing your home? Well, there's a free online workshop on March 16th at 4:30 p.m. So register at the bit.ly that is in the comments below, okay? Youth Speaks is hosting the Unified Fest signups. Register your team for the 2023 Unified Poetry Slam. All right, poets, if y'all out there, y'all register because the deadline is March 17th. All right, it's in a couple of days now. So if you got some talent, make sure you register at that info link in the comments. Rafiki Coalition is hosting an Emerald Kiki Ball March 17th at 7 p.m. at 601 Cesar Chavez Street. There's a competition, prizes, food, free shuttle is provided at 24th and Mission Street. Support for families, free conference for families of children with disabilities. There's things for everyone in the community, y'all. So y'all come on and support. This is going to be on March 18th from 9 to 4 p.m. at the John O'Connell High School. Also, there's virtual available as well. There's more info at www.supportforfamilies.org/IRC 2023. San Francisco Police Department Chief Scott is having a virtual Zoom citywide public safety town hall meeting on March 20th at 5:30 p.m. If you're interested to hear and also participate, make sure you register at the Zoom link that is provided in the comments. Bay Area Legal Aid, info on understanding the importance of a clear house title deed for disaster preparedness. It's going to be on March 22nd at 6 p.m. The Zoom meeting ID is in the comments to follow. Electrification Clinic. Learn about an affordable electrical home. Yes. BNSN Resource Center at 9400 International Boulevard and Unit C in Oakland. It's going to be on March 23rd from 5 to 7 p.m. So learn about the benefits of an electric home. That's something interesting that I would like to know about. But make sure you guys register at info at the oakland.ca.gov/electrify. 100% affordable housing program through City and County San Francisco Mayor's Office at 921 Howard Street. The application is due March 24th. Okay, so there's going to be affordable housing, y'all. If y'all need it, y'all make sure you put that app in by the 24th. There's going to be a lottery on April 7th. Okay, so there's going to be housing for y'all. If y'all need it, make sure you apply at the link that's going to be in the comments. Okay, y'all click on that and apply. Mission Science Workshop hosting the Giant Blood Vessel exhibit at the Charles Drew Elementary School at 501 Pomona Street on March 25th from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. Princess Project has a volunteer opportunity. It's they're located at it's a 2023 prom dress giveaways. It's going to be now through May 28th. They're giving away prom dresses, y'all. 455 Market Street. If you're interested, sign up at eventbrite.com. San Francisco Recreation and Parks Department is hosting an aquatics lifeguard class. It's going to be from Tuesday through Friday, March 28th through the 31st. That's going to be from 8 to 5 p.m. If you want more info about that, y'all make sure you email right there at michelle.lee@sfgov.org. Youth Speaks is hosting a write and performance workshops. They have a spring series, and that's going to be at 265 Shotwell Street. Zoom is also available for this event, and it's going to be from now until May 31st. Okay, so more info on that, make sure you guys click at the link there in the comments. The first kayaking and family event. Kayaking. Y'all interested in kayaking? I have never done it. I don't know because I'm black or what. I don't know. I'm just saying. Y'all, if y'all haven't tried it, this is a perfect event. Jackrabbit Beach Candlestick area. From April 8th from 10 to 3 p.m. So y'all make sure you RSVP if you're interested. You guys got to try new things. So, I mean, if I was living there, I would be definitely registering, but you guys try it out, okay? So register at the link that's provided in the comments. Make sure you click on that. HRC is working with USF students, okay? Listening sessions, reparations plan. Look, y'all, if y'all don't know nothing about no reparations, y'all only know what you hear. Look, y'all need to go and listen to this stuff so you can get more knowledge about it, more. I mean, the more that you get, the more that, successful you're going to be in this life. I'm just saying. So it's there. April 7th, McLaurin Complex, 250. April 20th, it's going to be, they're going to have one April 7th, April 20th. So if you guys are interested, make sure you register at RSVP at eventbrite.com. Paid Youth Arts Workforce Development Training Program. They have a workforce development training program. The application is due on April 24th. Click on that info link in the comments for more information. Girlfly Summer Art and Activism Program. The program is for San Francisco-based teen girls and GNC youth ages 14 through 19. There's some things for our youth, y'all. So if you're interested in that, the application is due on the May 1st. But if you want more info, click on the link at flyawayproductions.com/youth. Now, here's some ongoing events. These happen ongoing. So Canvas with the DAP at EB Preg, the East Bay Permanent Real Estate Cooperative. Okay, they have the canvassing every second Saturday in the Deep. So better neighborhoods, same neighborhoods at the same neighborhoods resource center, and it's located at 9400 International Boulevard, Unit C. So make sure you RSVP at Here to Stay at ebpreg.org. So have a voice in how your community wants to look like, y'all. So if y'all want, make sure you show up and get more info. Scholarships and jobs, saving to build my dream art and video contest. Ooh, win $500 in scholarships. The deadline is March 24th. And for more info, make sure you email celia.u@sfgov.org. Close the Gap Foundation is having summer fellowship scholarship opportunities. The program is June 4th through September 17th. The application due is March 31st. If you guys want more information about this summer fellowship scholarship, make sure you go to www.closethegapfoundation.org. Hope SF is accepting academic scholarship applications. Students who live in Alice Griff, Potrero Terrace Annex, Hunter View, or Sunnydale. They have academic scholarships available, y'all. So the deadline for that is April 14th. Okay, make sure you get this out. If you got youth, you got kids, you got nieces, nephews, grandbabies. Look, there's money out there for y'all for your education. So make sure y'all sign up. So make sure you apply at the tiny URL link that's in the comments. The city and county of San Francisco has an upcoming career event. Okay, let's go. Career Resource Fair. It's going to be April 15th from 10 to 2 p.m. There's jobs, y'all. There's jobs. Y'all got to just show up. Civic Center. It's going to be at the Civic Center Plaza at 355 McAllister Street in San Francisco. So if you're interested, make sure y'all register. Register at www.career.sf.gov. Okay. IT and Web Development Apprenticeship Springhort begins April 1st. And these are for ages 16 through 24. Now, y'all know IT and web is huge. They make lots of money, and we need our people in there. Our Black and Brown community need to go. So 16 to 24. Y'all, one more info, go to acwdb.org. Also, finally, last but not least, join our youth team. We're looking for volunteers that are in the San Francisco area. So you'll have paid stipends. It could be high school or college honor roll students. So if you're interested in that, being part of this team, help us out, get this word out. Look, join our team. So you can join us. Also, you can email us at hr@bsotc.org.
Yep. Thank you very much. And yes, community, we have also opportunities for other folks in the community that want to give back. Please reach out to us. Maybe that's you trying to get connected. I want to help. I want to do something to impact community. There's an opportunity for you as well. So please reach out to us. Definitely when we want to connect people. We're looking for some people who want to help their people, really want to uplift the people. All right. Because a lot of times we got a lot of folks who say they want to do the work, but when it comes to Black folks, they really not so into doing the work. This is a lot of work when we're dealing with trauma, PTSD, the harms that's been, impacting our community. We got to work with these people in the community. We got to talk to them. And it's a lot of work that we have to do. So looking forward to folks to be there and support in those capacities. Also, if it's your first time watching us or connected with us, please check us out. Follow us on all social media handles. YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, everything is at Both Sides of the Conversation. Our next live show is this Tuesday. If you're looking for us again to see when we live next Tuesday at 7 p.m., we'll have another segment of our Hidden Gems where we will continue to highlight our Black and Brown businesses, our community leaders and organizations that are doing positive things to impact community. That's what that segment is about, uplifting our community and making sure our community know where there are Black and Brown businesses, how we can support, how we can get involved. So please check out our Tuesday show. See who's in the community, see who's doing stuff, and see how you could take a part in supporting and educating them. Also, our next live show after that will be Thursday. We'll have an educational Thursday as Wu Yi will be coming on to educate our community about some of the services that they offer, free childcare and different resources that they have. So they'll be on this Thursday to come educate community about services and support resources that they have for our community. With that being said, I'm going to turn over to Kali. She's going to go ahead and get into some of the statistics and some of the information about today's topics. And then after that, we're going to bring up the deacon. We're going to bring up all of the amazing folks that's come to talk about today's conversation. So, Khalid, go ahead and let the community know. Give them a little impact about what's going on with this conversation.
Oh, yes. Californians are facing a hidden public health crisis that stems from childhood trauma. So today's conversation is about trauma. Researchers from the San Francisco-based Center for Youth Wellness and Public Health Institute of Oakland aim to shed light on how early adverse experiences such as abuse, neglect, household dysfunction, including divorce and parental incarceration, it just might impact a child's health for a lifetime. Dr. Nadine Burke-Harris is a pediatrician and founder of the Center for Youth Wellness. She says the study looked at data from more than 27,000 surveys conducted by California Behavior Risk Factor Surveillance System over 4 years between 2008 and 2013. So the so-called adverse childhood experiences, also known as ACE, are common across race, income, and education and geography. Nearly 62% of Californians reported at least one traumatic childhood event, and 1 in 6 had experienced 4 or more. The lowest numbers came from Santa Clara and San Mateo counties, where just over half of respondents reported such experiences. People sometimes assume that it's a low-income issue, but Dr. Burke says, no, it's everybody's burden, every taxpayer. Burke also says that the research is needed on the impact of other types of negative childhood experiences, and that these surveys did not consider including bullying, racism, and community violence. So today's conversation is going to be pretty heavy with all of these factors and the percentages. Yes, John, it's going to be a heavy conversation because there is definitely probably a linkage.
Man, definitely in community. All of these conversations that we have, okay, our ideal behind the Sunday conversation is to have the difficult conversations, the taboo conversation, the stigma conversation. And yes, These conversations can be very triggering. There's a very emotional high and low that comes with these conversations. So brace yourself, community. If it gets too heavy, then you have to step back. We respect that and honor that. But again, we're going to push forward and we're going to make sure that we keep these conversations happening in our community because we believe here at both sides of the conversation through communication, there's a healing process. Sometimes just getting off your chest can start that process of healing. So we're going to have a conversation today, and we are excited about the panelists that we have today. So we're going to start bringing them up, and we're going to jump into today's conversation. So with that being said, we're going to bring up Brother Charles Joseph. He is here. King, go ahead and tell the people who you are and a little bit about you before we get into today's conversation.
Greeting both sides, family. Hey, I'm Charles Joseph. I'm coming from the church background and also experience working in the TL, the Civic Center area, working with a lot of homeless single adults and our young adults. Also, we're at CJ9 dealing with those folks directly. So I think I got a little experience with this.
Man, real talk. Glad to have you here, brother, and looking forward to today's conversation. With that being said, we're going to bring up the deacon, my brother, AR to the Smith. What's up, brother?
Hey, what's going on? What's going on, everybody? How y'all doing? My name's AR. You know, they call me. Well, I don't even want to say that. Even the bishop named me the deacon. You know what I mean? So that's a nickname I have is the deacon. I mean, my background kind of all over the place. You know, I've been incarcerated. You know, obviously, you know how it is. I think I don't know if it's a black community thing, but as I was listening, I realized that I've kind of become desensitized to violence. You know, I expect to hear about it. So when I hear about it, I find myself having to remind myself that it's a tragedy, and it just because I didn't experience it, it's still a bad thing. You know what I mean? So like, I don't know. I'm from the inner city. You know what I mean? And I got church background too. But yeah, you know, we'll get into it.
Man, that's what's up, man. Glad to have you here, brother. Also, we have my guy, Matt. Welcome back to both sides of the conversation, brother.
How you doing? How you doing? Glad to be here. I'm Matt. I'm bi-coastal. I'm from Maryland. I moved to Alabama. I'm now in California. I too have a religious background. I'm a PK. My dad's a bishop. I am also an educator. I teach fourth grade. I have 22 fourth graders I teach every day of the week. And learning the city and getting involved. I've done community work. I've led different community organizations. I am the social action representative for a young adult group with my denomination, the AME Church. And I've done nonprofit work. I've done homeless outreach. I've done a little bit of everything, entrepreneurship and project management. I've done a little bit of everything. So I'm here. Glad to be here.
Man, we're glad to have you in space, brother. That's what it's all about. Gotta have the brothers representing the community, sisters, the queens. Always saying, where are the kings at today? We got a few of most amazing ones that are here. We're gonna bring up the bishop. Bishop, you right on time, brother.
My guys, how you guys doing?
Can't complain, brother. Happy to have you here. Go ahead and tell the people a little bit about yourself and today's conversation. I think we might have lost the bishop. All right, we'll get the bishop back when he get situated. And then lastly, we're going to bring up the phenomenal youth team leader that stepped into her greatness, Miss Brandy Gray. Come up here and talk with the people today. How you doing, Miss Brandy?
Hello, everyone. I'm Brandy. I'm doing great. I'm glad to talk about this topic today because I do believe that this is going to be a heavy one. So.
Yes, it will be. It will be. So with that being said, everybody, we're going to go ahead. Let's see if the bishop, you back, Bishop?
I think I'm back, guys. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you, brother.
Oh, it's nice to be back. Nice to be back.
Go ahead and introduce yourself to the people.
I'm Coach Bishop, Coach Robert Bishop, former head coach, College of Alameda basketball program, and currently a businessman in Stockton.
Man, nice to have you back, Bishop, and looking forward to today's conversation. This is going to be a heavy one, but we got some heavy folks
Got
that
some
can
heavy
help.
hitters on there
We got
today.
some heavy hitters today, y'all. Community, get ready. This is gonna be a great conversation. Brace yourself. We know it's 2 hours, but after we start talking, you know the time is just gonna fly by because it's so important. So we're gonna kick it off. Just want to really set the tone with this question, and we could go anywhere. Okay, we're not on a set pathway. It's an open conversation, but just wanted to ask this question because a lot of folks are always asking: can the trauma events, the traumatic events that happen in our community contribute to the violent behavior and how in our community? Because we have to relate this. You know, how does the trauma affect the violence? How does the violence affect the trauma? So just wanted to kick it off of there, and anybody could kick it off, and then we'll just start moving it around.
Okay, I'm gonna kick it off because I'm starting from a childhood. So when we're raised, oftentimes in our families, and I was raised by my grandmother, spare the rod, spoil the child. Whoopings, right? Whoopings. Does whoopings really impact? I know excessiveness, but does whoopings impact the way that you behave in school? Does it build up anger, resentment? Can whoopings be traumatic? Can they be traumatic?
I can chime in. You went right to it, childhood, and I was gonna say I think it definitely spoiled. It goes into trauma affects what we're seeing as it pertains to violence and other shifts and changes in the society. So social dynamic. I'm sorry, is how we deal with the trauma. I think just as much as it was spare the rod, spoil the child, it was we don't talk about that, baby. We just go ahead, deal with it. Get over that. It's time for you to you'll get through that, or you're not old enough to know what that's like. Really invalidating and dispelling experiences, so people haven't really been able to articulate. Whereas we talk about a lot of men's trauma and not being able to express ourselves and themselves. I think it comes to the fact that I think we have been expressing ourselves. We just haven't been heard. So there's that. Like, oh, you get to an age and men don't. Nah, I think when I was 5, I told you this person hurt me and you told me it wasn't real. Right. So now I'm acting out in ways the same way I was pushing the old person in my chair. I got a gun now. And I'm still trying to get that attention from you and let you know this bothers me. I'm bothered by something. I don't know how to express that because I don't believe I'll be heard, or I don't know how to express that any other way.
I think you said it correctly. At a late stage, we're still trying to express the pain and the humiliation we felt from that trauma. Also, too, if we think about this word that we're using, trauma, man, over the time we understand that there's a way to deal with trauma, and especially in our Black and Brown communities, we've got to build that trauma informed type network. A lot of times in the church, man, we don't want to bring in stuff that's really evidence based or therapeutic, if you will. We're sitting up and talking about just pray, and we're gonna get over it. No, 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 no. Okay, so we need some brothers and sisters that are more informed, that start off from when we're building that relationship to try to help people like us get over trauma. We got to build that trust, that trustworthy network. We've got to be able to say, well, mama meant well by scolding, but yes, it did get a little excessive. But I'm here to help you. Although I can't take away what may have happened, I understand. And then we build from there. I think that you started something, pretty strong there, Mr. C, right?
I want to touch on what Khalees started off. She was talking about getting whoopings, and like for me, like I got whoopings from my dad, but like he would always explain to me after. Like there was always a conversation, after the fact, and so I developed the understanding that there's consequences to my actions, right? But I think it also might have taught me violence almost. because if there's a consequences for my actions, what's somebody else's consequences for doing something to me? You know what I mean? But I don't know, but I also feel like it's almost like natural with kids, right? Like my girl, she got a 5-year-old, and when she don't want to be touched, she just puts her arm up and pushes, and like I have to tell her like, no hitting, like don't hit me in my face. But I know for her, it's not her being violent, right? It's just a natural like, so I don't know. I'm not a psychologist or anything like that, but I think on the one hand, if you spare the child, you just hope that they have the personality where they'll understand. And you hope that you, as the parent, the teacher, right, is going to be able to explain it well enough to where they'll get the message. Because it's more about teaching them, character, right? But if in the process we bring out this violent kind of, because I feel like as humans we're kind of naturally like that. And I feel like there's some things that are more natural for others, but I don't know. Spankings is kind of like, yeah, I guess it was traumatic because I remember them. but yeah, I don't know. Like that's an interesting one though, because
I think the dialogue between a beating and a spanking, I think there's a healthy dynamic with both. I mean, you got kids here who also need to understand that what they're doing is wrong, right? And I think there's a level of spanking that's safe and not out of control. I think when we talk about beatings, when parents are out of control and they out of I think that's where we had that borderline. But I think there's a healthy discipline that you could display to a young person that I don't feel. I mean, when we talk about traumatic, anything can be traumatic, right? If you raise your voice today too loud, that can be traumatic, right? If you stomp in the room too much, that can be traumatic, right? So our brain is very good at processing those emotions, and a lot of the stuff is based off where people are at when it's being delivered. So I agree with you. There is a level of beating out there that can cause traumatic stuff and make folks go through stuff. But I also think, there's a healthy discipline part of a spanking that can help alter a kid's direction as well.
man, Bishop, I got held upside down. My pops was big, man. He held me upside down by my ankles, man. I'll never forget it. I'm traumatized.
Now that might be on the range of abuse. Okay, that might be on the range.
He had me up like this, pop, pop, pop. What's going on? I'm traumatized. I know it.
You can't do anything about it now, AR. You too old.
Now, yeah, I could whoop my dad, but I love my dad and I respect my dad. And I understood at a young age. It's a joke, but I understood at a young age, like my pops wasn't trying to hurt me. Right? I understood that it was about because my dad's a pastor too. Right. And so it wasn't like I just got whoopings, like he tried to talk to me and explain things to me, but he also used the Bible to try to guide my processing, what I was doing, how I was living.
And see, that's one of the things, because a lot, like my grandmother, she didn't really do too much talking. So, you did something wrong, but a lot of times, you just got a whooping and there was not much talking. And we kind of carry that same upbringing and stuff with our children, and it just keep going on for generations. But it was a little different for me because I made sure when I was raising my children that I explained to them in detail what was going on, because I didn't want them to feel how I felt as a kid. And so, I mean, I believe that you do have to explain.
Yeah, I think for me it was different. I got some good whoopings. My mom gave me some good ones, and you get older and you think about it. I was like, man, I deserved every bit of that. You go back and you think about those spankings you got. You go, woo, I was terrible. But I think the traumatic part for me was when I was younger. I think what messed me up was when we had domestic violence. When I had to watch when I was a young man, I couldn't do nothing to protect my mom, and to see domestic violence, I think that's where it was like, oh, it was heavy. You know what I'm saying? And it kind of triggered me because it's like, man, you're a young boy, you can't do nothing to this grown man. you know, and man, I grew up with that anger. Like, man, when I get older, dude, you know what I'm saying? I'm a step to you, brother. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I think that's where a lot of mine, when I was like young out there, man, it was from that, because I was like, I wanted to get this brother back so bad. I was like, oh man, you did this to my mama, but I was too young. I didn't know. Then when I started wilding, oh, hey, I was like, I was terrible. You know what I mean? I think that triggered me. So that's why when I say, for me, it was that, because I was like, man, I'm gonna do you in, brother. I had that, and it brought that anger and that all that anger, fear, pain. You know what I mean? I think that's why it's so important to have those conversations, because man, young brothers be holding that in, and we talk about this to men in the community, women in the community. You know, that stuff be heavy, man. You know what I'm saying? Domestic violence causes a lot of trauma, and it causes a lot of violence. And our young people sometimes display that in many different ways. So I think that's definitely a real conversation kicker, AR, because I know that young trauma can turn into some violent reactions when you get older.
Hey, I want to chime in a little bit on that, man. I personally think that you shouldn't spare the rod, man, because hell, I got whippings too. And my grandfather used to put me between his legs, man, and tear my butt up. But what that did for me, man, that said I didn't want any more of them. So I kind of flew right a little bit, and I said, hey, man, 3 or 4 whippings in my lifetime was enough, right? So it just really depends on the person too. You know, you got to know your kids. You got to know, you know what I mean, what tool to use in terms of disciplinary actions and stuff when they do wrong. But I think if we continue to lead by example, then our kids will pick up. You know, we're living in a different time now, you know, where they lock you up for that kind of stuff, man. But, you know, we as black folks, I think we all can agree that we're gonna tear that butt up if you get out of line, because we need you to know that we ain't playing, you know. So I think that it just really depends on the kid, man. And hell, I turned out to be all right. I got some whippings, you know, so I think that's important, man. And, you know, in the black culture, man, that's what we do, you know, and, you know, we don't have a problem with that. It's just when now they're saying, hey, man, put your kid in timeout. But hell, that ain't really worked for too many black families that I know. So that's just where I'm at with that. I think, you know, I got 7 sons too, man. I got 4 daughters and I got 7 sons. And so for me, we had to have some discipline in the house, you know, of course, not on the abusive side, but to let the kid know that, hey, man, you know, if you stick your hand on that heat, on that oven, and you get burned, you ain't gonna put it on there no more. So it's just a different tactics that you use. You know, I'm gonna give you a scenario. When I was head coach at Alameda College, I used to tell my players they wasn't listening. So, okay, you don't believe what I'm telling you. I tell you what, go punch that wall hard as you can with your hand. None of them did that because it was a brick wall. So it was kind of a lesson without touching them, getting physical with them.
Lost the bishop.
Yeah, we may have lost him, John, but he said hit the wall. So my son did that, and he had a boxer fracture at the school. So I don't know about hitting the walls. I'm telling you, he did it twice. He had a boxer fracture from hitting that wall. Yeah.
I wanted to chime in if I could. There's a couple things. First, I think what's happening with trauma and violence and all, people are not saying, Brother AR, you said it right there. Like, people don't have the courage to say, I am traumatized, right? Like, I am traumatized, and trauma going not just to how we were scolded as children, but like my situation, just from the smallest thing of I am traumatized. Someone took my pencil. They took that crayon. They took that toy. I lost it. Something used to happen. I go out of town, and every summer I go to South Carolina. And every summer I come back from South Carolina, my room was clean. But when my room was clean, stuff was missing, right? And one summer, my stuff, one of my favorite Sesame Street toys was missing. And I wanted to know where it was. My mom said, well, I cleaned your room because you didn't clean your room before you left. You know, and that was the thing. I didn't handle my responsibilities. I lost my stuff. But it was still a traumatic moment for me because I thought I did what I was supposed to do. I thought it was clean to my standard. It was clean to my liking. And I lost one of my favorite toys because it wasn't to the standard, right? Was the standard taught? right? Which comes to the whippings. A lot of times, and I share it with the children now, and even some of the parents as we're talking, is that people didn't understand. Well, we understood consequences, and it wasn't just that we didn't want to be in trouble at home. We didn't want to be a representation or an embarrassment to the home outside. So if we got whooped, a lot of times we were familiar with why we got whooped. So as I'm dealing with kids now, I'm like, hey, we can't come at the kids the way we got came at, because now they're gonna go tell somebody, oh, so and so jacked me up real quick, and because I was playing around and hitting so and so, jacked me up real quick. And now you got parents up at the school, man, you put your hands on my child, you jacked him up. And it used to be, yeah, what you have to jack him up for? Well, he was over here being inappropriate, and this and that. Is that what you did? Yeah, that's what I did. All right, we need to go talk about this. But now it's, you shouldn't have, da, 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 da. It's this protective, this I'm protected from my consequences motion that's going on with children, right? Like we're more guarded. We're trying to be friends rather than be that lead for them, right? And let them follow us, be the example. So there's trauma. There's trauma in that. What is a good whooping? You know, to what extent do we say, you know, I'm going to physically harm you, you know, to a way that I don't think would harm you anyway, mentally or whatever. I'm telling you not to hit people when they do things wrong to you. But when you do the wrong thing, I'm going to hit you. That's confusing to a child, right? So what is a good whooping without a lesson? What is a scolding without a foundation? You know, how do we tear someone? Someone wanted to remind me about something today I didn't even know about in the first place. I'm like, you can't remind me about something I don't know, right? So it's how do we do this, and how are we seeing this? People aren't saying I am traumatized. There aren't good foundations of discipline, and there aren't ways for people to express themselves that say I need help.
So
I
Matt,
think that. Oh.
I'm sorry. So Matt, the follow-up question to that, do you think that us as a community have a hard time communicating our emotions, communicating, and why do we have a hard time with that?
I think it's because a few reasons. There's layers to it all, right? Especially dealing with Black people. There is that people don't want to deal with the fact that there's layers that come with us that don't come with other generations and other races. No other generation, no other being on earth has had to deal with the same ebbs and flows of life as everybody else, while dealing with a separate trauma than everybody else's, dating back 400 plus years, right? So it's like, before we deal with anything, we're dealing with that. Okay. Now, from that, we had to create, as I talked about and I preached about a few weeks ago, defense mechanisms. We have naturally created defense mechanisms in order to survive over the years of developing this trauma. How do we get through the next day? Oh, so-and-so disrespected me. I can't hit them. I can't do anything about it. Unfortunately, in some cases, I don't have this power at home, at work, or in the cities. The man just told me I can't sit in this seat, and now I'm going home and I'm taking this power I can't exude, and I'm hitting my wife because she ain't have dinner ready. Right? I'm beating the kids because they ain't had the homework done. Right? I'm shooting the other child because I got bullied at school. It's the same thing with police trauma, right? We're dealing with this at home, right? So there's ways we've dealt with dealing with how we're dealing with it, right? Just trying to get through. Hey, what's going on? Same stuff, different day. Same stuff. How long has it been the same stuff, different day? And there's been so many different things that's happened. How is it the same stuff, different day in 92, and the same stuff, different day in 2002, and the same stuff, different day in 2022, right? Like, how is that possible, right? We have built a pattern of defense mechanisms to deal with how we get through the day. So much so, when something comes and counters our defenses, we look at a plan and we panic. We don't look at a way to strengthen our defenses. Ho, there's a weak area here. I need to improve that. It's whoa, you came in my defenses. What is wrong with you? Don't come to me about that. Don't talk to me about my child. Can't nobody tell me about my child. Can't nobody say nothing to me about this or that. We don't talk about that. Don't talk to me about something. Oh, what you going to therapy for? You know, I was expressing to somebody, it was, oh, I didn't know you was going to therapy. It's like, yeah, but the tone they said it in said like, yeah, like, whoo, yeah, you sure do need some therapy, right? And it's like, whoa, like, nah, that's actually a defense because you might need therapy, and you want me to go to therapy so I can deal with all the things that don't obstruct your defenses, right? Because a lot of what I found through going to therapy is that I was exposing you. I wasn't the problem in this situation. You were the problem in this situation, right? And your defense didn't allow you to really see you and deal with you. And that's where it is. We haven't seen, it hasn't been modeled. It has not been modeled. We as a community have not seen effective communication and effective expression of emotion in our communities. And when we saw it, when we dealt with it, we called it white. Right? We called it, you know, different. We called it some other stuff. Oh, you talking, where you get all that from? Oh, you smart now. Oh, you done gone. We so glad you went to school. You got all that stuff. Now you done came back with your psychology degree, your whole licensed therapist and stuff. You're dealing with the trauma and you think you so smart. I do think I'm so smart. I'm the first to graduate in the family. Y'all all celebrated me. You were at the graduation. I got my PhD and you don't want to listen to me because you're not ready to deal with what's going on. You rather, I say all the people need their narratives. Without your narrative, what are you doing every day, right? Most people that don't have a purpose have a narrative, or haven't identified their purpose have a narrative. And we hear it all the time. Oh, I'm out here, you know, I do it all for my kids. Great. Your kids graduate, they're not your responsibility. What you doing it for? Oh, I do it for this money. Great. When the bills are done and taken care of, what you doing it for? Right? We got these scapegoats, we got these narratives, we got these defense mechanisms, we got all these things we've had to do to survive, and we still here. So why not deal with what's going on? We all know. We all have the parking lot talks and have the cookout things, and we dance around and don't touch on the things we know we don't need to touch on. But those are the ones we need to touch on. We might need to piss some people off and get them out of our space because they're not ready to have some conversations that we're ready to have so we can progress forward as a people.
So, Matt, I got a question because there's some people out there that say, John, since all of the policies been in place for us not to discipline our children, the children have become more wilder. They're more disrespectful. You know, so what do you say to that? And then also, you know, when you talk about the stuff that's going on, what about the people that's in the house? We can talk about outside the house, but in the house, when this type of, you know, things are going on, and we're trying to make that change or that pivot from that. How do we deal with that? I mean, because we taught from kids, somebody hit you, hit them back, you know. And when you talk about the communication, I think we are having the communication with the people. When you talk to some of these kids and you tell them, hey, you give them an explanation, they're doing something wrong. Don't do this because of X, Y, and Z.
Yeah.
All right. If you do it again, it's a problem. After that, I'm going to discipline you and spank you. So I think there is a process, but I think you hit on something. I think the adults, and this is where we got to have the real adult trauma conversation, because I think adults is a big problem with our young people today. The reason why our young people are doing so bad at being young people walking as scholars and things of that nature is because of the adults, because the behaviors that we mirror in our images gives them that to feel like, well, you guys are doing it. When you look at the elders, when you look at some of these families, I know we struggle from single families, broken families, but when you look at the men, the women, what are we doing that our young people are watching? When we talk about the homies that's on the corner, the big homies and all of that, how many of these young brothers is watching these brothers who misleading them? So when we talk about this trauma and how we pass it on, how do we hold the males accountable in our community for their role in the leadership? How do we hold the females accountable so they're not on Instagram twerking? Because when they do this, our young people is watching. They don't understand all of the concept of what's going on. But if my mama is doing it, why I can't do it? You get what I'm saying? If you tell me don't touch the stove, but the stove is hot, but one day I see you do it to see if the pilot's lit, and I don't know you checking to see the pilot is lit, I'ma do it. When you told me don't do it, you didn't cry and scream. You get what I'm saying? So what I'm saying is this dynamic of how we lead and what is the example being set and how it's being received and viewed plays a big part of it. You get what I'm saying? And when you talk about how do we get the people to come around to mental health, it starts with these conversations. See, the more we see each other vulnerable to speak up, was our triggers was and how we get through it, the faster we heal our community. Because now I'm not going to shame you because you're getting therapy, because I see 20 other people getting therapy too, and it's okay. So that's where we change the narrative. We control the narrative by changing it, by being vulnerable. And this is why these conversations are so important, because as a Black male, teenage male, or a young elementary school kid, how do I see somebody that recognize and look like me be vulnerable? What does that look like? And then in the Black community, when we do get therapy, all we do is tell people you need to go do your work. Who's training our people in the community to really explain to them what this work look like on this journey of healing? Because I'm gonna tell you right now, I always hear people talk about you got to do the work, you got to go get some therapy. What does that look like? Are we talking about group therapy? We talking about one-on-one therapy? Are we talking about taking a club of people going on a hike? What does that look like? How do I know I'm going through the process right if you don't tell me? Oh, you need to get a therapist, but what does that journey look like? How many conversations? Where should the conversation go? And this is where adult leadership, folks who are doing the work, we have to be intentional in our communication and what we're displaying to the community, or we never get them to follow. How do I believe it? We got all these coaches out here, therapy coaches. We got all these relationship coaches, but nobody's telling them how to do it. They talking about it, but I don't see it because everything around me is showing the opposite of what you're coaching me on. I look on the TV, they're bashing each other in this. You get what I'm saying? I look outside in my community and this is going on. I go out to the clubs. I go to the community, to the event. This is going on. I'm inside these corporate spaces and this is going on. So how do I differentiate that?
Brother, man, that was so good. Look, can I elaborate a second on this here?
Man, go ahead, brother.
Man, listen, part of what I'm seeing too is, I'm a 60-year-old man, but I'm telling my 19-year-old son, you got to get ready today. You got to move fast. You got to get your degree now. Well, I didn't get my degrees until I was in my 30s. So a lot of times we're coming from a perspective of our knowledge now, and we're telling our kids to get it now. We don't realize that they're still kids. And sometimes we got to take a step back, even as leaders and as fathers, and say, look, when did I get it? Right? So give our kids a little more time to mature and get to that level, right? We still got our hands on them, but we also got to understand that they don't think like a 50-year-old or a 40-year-old when they're 18. They don't think like a 30-year-old when they're 18, but we're saying you got to get it now. And I think that's a big problem because it provides a tremendous amount of pressure on these kids, right? Because we're saying, look, you got to get out the house at 18. You've been getting on my nerve the last 4 years, right? So I think the approach has to be different because times have changed, right? When I grew up, I had my mom, I had my grandmother, and I had my great-grandmother in the house. We don't have that. I had my father, I had my grandfather. Most of the times, it'd be rare if we see any of that in the house now. Hell, we barely see dads in the house, right? For whatever the reason, that's another conversation. But I think the message has to be given differently because we're living in a different times. Last night, we at the club. I'm at my lounge last night, and one of my guys go out, and he's fighting with a young guy. And I had to say, look what you just did, right? You fighting with a guy, and he's younger. You're supposed to be the leader. That's not leading by example. You're a club owner. How does that look? So I had to break it down in those terms and say, look, let's look around. Look at everybody's looking at you guys, right? And we all look alike. We're all Black, so we all look alike. So the images that these kids are seeing it's not coming from them. It's coming from us. So that's the narrative. I think that collectively doing what you're doing now and having this panel and we're discussing it Now we can go back in our communities, in our homes, and say, look, man, we got to change this narrative. But I believe it really starts with us and how we're preparing our kids and the time that we're spending with our kids, even if you're not in the home with them. You got to be a big part of that your kid's life, right? Particularly young males, because we are already at a disadvantage. We're leaving our sisters out here to take care of these young boys, and we know they're doing a wonderful job, man. But we got to step up, I think, and take the mantle and just be leaders. You know, keep ourselves in a position to show them that they can do all things.
Bishop, I gotta say this because this is the problem. So this is why this trauma conversation is so real, because we can't heal our families because of the bitterness, because of the hurt. And this is why it's important. But then just to go back a little bit about what you said about the elders, because you're right, there is a disconnect with the generations. But how do we get our elders to pass the torch to the young people? How do we get our elders to listen to the young people? Because maybe they don't see it your way because it's a different time. Because we get elders who stand up and say, no, y'all can't do it like this. But you're not explaining them why. They're coming up in this generation with technology. They say, hey, we can do it like this. Mm-hmm. Now we got ego. I was telling somebody the other day, when was real. And I want to pass it to Brandy next because she is a young lady and she experienced things at a different way, right? And we want to hear from the young people too. But what I say in our community is we got to get control of that PET, man. That was the realest thing, that pet, our pride, our ego, and deal with our traumas. Because again, those are the three things that's really destroying our community. When we talk about this violence and this trauma, we got male ego. We got male pride. We got male trauma that's unattended, and the result of that is just disastrous, right? And when we talk about our young people in elementary school, middle school, when I was a young person, I was telling somebody, I remember being in 5th grade, 4th grade, 3rd grade. We had conflict managers. And what they would do is they would be taught how to work with each other and do peer conflict counseling. What do we do now in our community to teach conflict management in our community? How do we equip our young people in the community when they're dealing with anger and their anxieties is high and their bloods is flowing? Where do we have a place where we can teach them how to control those emotions? Right? And then we got leaders in the community who are divisive. They are doing the very things we're telling the kids not doing. When we have this is the confusion that we're talking about in our community. I got young people that tell me, John, they telling me don't sell drugs, and I'm looking at the elders and they selling drugs. They telling me to don't smoke weed and they over there smoking weed. You see what I'm saying about the messaging? They're saying don't do this, but they're doing that. We don't fix that part as adults. How do we expect the young people to get it? We got a country right now doing all kind of stuff, and these young people are watching. You tell me don't kill, but the police is killing people. We go to our community and we killing each other. It's a slaughterhouse. And how do a young person who's trying to develop understand the right or wrong when the very people we look up to? And this is why I say big homies. This is why I talk about big sisters. When I talk about brothers and grandpas, we have to make sure the way we are walking, the way we are standing, the way we are talking, that we are on cue, because our young people are watching us every step of the way. Those gunshots that's happening, there's some kid in that apartment building looking out the window because they don't understand they need to get on the floor. They don't know. They want to see what happened. Because we in our community, we get electrified and energized when drama happens. So we wonder why this trauma, we run around this drama conversing to violence. We get excited. 2 girls fighting on the corner, instead of people stopping and break them up, everybody want to form a circle and record. Oh, what are we doing? These are the conversations that we really got to have, because our young people is watching us. I've been out there breaking up fights. I got adults, Bishop. I got adult women out there trying to fight with little teenage girl because this is my daughter, instead of saying, hey, we gonna have a conversation like young ladies, and we gonna resolve this. We got elders in the community, young folks walking around with guns, ain't saying nothing, encouraging them. We got big homies in the community scared to go back to jail, telling the little homies on the block, hey, hold on to that gun, boy. The police can't do nothing to you. You just going to juvenile. because he don't want to violate and go back to prison. This is the kind of dysfunction and the mismanagement and leadership of our community that's traumatizing and hurting our community every day. We got pastors in the community being very, very divisive. And we just sitting there as fellow followers of the church and we don't say nothing. When do we as adults hold ourselves accountable so that when our young people are watching us, we are a model that they can look at? That's the real question.
You know, man, I think that you make a great point, but also too, we got to look at the root. When we call on the big homies and the big sisters and stuff like that are the influencers for our community, they have to be able to say, what are you able to understand about this situation, right or wrong? So that's a value point. But then also too, the peer leadership, if they're going to engage us, they have to be relatable. You know what I'm saying? I can't just try to insert myself into certain situations if the people are not receiving me. But then again, I keep on saying certain things where it's like it's a back and forth. It still falls on me to make myself relatable. If you talking about, hey man, with our technology, we can do this, this, and this. Well, I better get savvy on my phone game because I need to be able to reach the people that are in my network. You know what I'm saying? This is how we lose these church kids, man, because what they think is we don't know. They just think that all we doing is running around with a Bible and our heads tucked in the sand. But that's not true. You know, I'll put it on myself. Man, I try to be relatable enough to where I'm learning certain music. I'm understanding the drug things that are happening in my community. I can't tell you what's happening globally, but I can tell you what's going on in my community. And I tried to talk to the people that are hurt amongst me on their level. And again, with that big part of being able to understand them. First, I got to be able to understand, take in consideration their hurt. Because again, we're talking about that trauma. Man, I don't know what made Johnny go and slap the teacher today. But check this out. I'm going to ask him without accusing him and showing him my finger. Hey man, talk to me about it. What happened? Let's get past this moment. That's what's gonna save his life. That's what saved mine.
And I just want to go ahead and
but Charles, go ahead. Let me say this though, Charles. This is where we gotta stop this in our community. Either we gonna be leaders and we gonna be fearless, or we gonna be afraid. Because see, too many elders in our community are, John, I don't want to intervene. I don't want to say anything. These kids is dangerous. I'm at this point of my life right now. I'm okay. If anything happened to me and I lose my life, I'm okay with it because I have a goal and a vision. I got to impact my people. The moment I decide not to speak up and say something is the very result that continues to destroy my community. Now, I might say something to a kid and he don't hear me, but at least I said something to make him understand. Because it was a time that I was young and somebody was telling me something, and that very person who said something, it triggered my consciousness to wake up and stop. So we have to do our part. We can't walk around with our hands up and say, I don't want to get involved with this because this is not. When do we, as the man of the community, when do we say enough's enough? I'm going to get involved regardless of the consequence, because if I'm not ready for the change now, it doesn't happen. I've had to do it. I've had to confront young people with guns in their hand. Listen, you're not about to shoot this gun. I've had to do this. And I've had the young man tell me, you know what, you're right. That saved somebody's life that day. I've had those situations. Now, I could easily say, oh, no, he got a gun. I got a granddaughter. I got all this going on. No. But I stepped to him. I said, young brother, you're not going to shoot this gun today, young brother. And he was reaching for it. You're not going to do this today, not while I'm here. Now, I know whatever took place, this is the reaction that you want to do, but not today while I'm here. That saved that young man's life. That saved that other person's life. That gave my community a break of that violence for that day. When do we as elders say, hey, we got to be willing to put something on the line? Because I'm going to tell you right now what's going on in our community. We have lost the dogfight in us, Black people. We just gonna call it what it is. Our people have become scary. They have become timid. And they not really to put nothing on the line. That's why I respect my ancestors. That's why I always uplift my ancestors, because they was willing to give their very life for the other people in this country. This generation, our elders, these leaders are very afraid. You're not leading me if you're not willing to put your life on the line for the progress of your people. We got to have a real conversation, men of the community, alpha males, leaders of the community. When do we as men stand up and be willing to sacrifice to move our community forward? Are we going to stand here as men and watch our community dissolve right in our face because we don't want to get involved, because it's uncomfortable? Because I might have to do something or say something that I'm not comfortable with saying? Oh, so we just going to stand here and be silent. We have become the silent generation. We're going to watch our community fail and be silent. Say, I told them so. I've been telling them this is going to happen. These are the men that we're building right now in our community? Because I want to know, are these the leaders that we're following behind in our community? Oh, you that afraid to call out what's wrong, so you accept what's wrong for right? Oh, this person is stealing the resources from our community, and you don't want to say anything, but you got 500 families crying that they're hungry, and we're just going to stand there because we don't want to get involved. Have we become that weak, gentlemen? Males of the community? Alpha males, I'm calling y'all to the forefront. Are you that afraid? Yeah, where's the fellas at?
I think they taking action. They taking action, Henry. There's some guys out there on the front line right now getting it done. I'm gonna just give you this example because I do want to hear from my sisters on the panel, but I want to give you this example. Last week I had a young man. He had just got out of the penitentiary and he had did some time, and he's a pretty known guy in the community. But he came into my lounge and he had his gun on him. And I said, hey, brother, look here, man, I'm gonna have to take that gun from you, man. I can't let you walk out of here and walk around here with that gun. I didn't want to kick him out because I know he was gonna go out there and do something stupid, right? So I said, hey, brother, look, why don't I do this? Why don't you give me your gun? I'll lock it up for you. And then at the end of the night, when you're ready to go, I'll give it back to you, right? That right there, probably, I question myself on both sides of the front, but I could have kicked him out and he could have went out there and caused mayhem. And so for that, I think we do got to take a stance, and we can't be afraid. We can't be afraid because most guys want you to come in and they want you to tell them what's right. They don't really want to do those things, but they don't have anybody that's ready to step up and say, hey, man, it don't matter how big you are, man. Look here, man, that's not the right move. So I told the kid last night, I told they were fighting. I said, look, go home. It's over. He want to come out and fight and go get his gun. And I said, look, just go home. Get you some rest. Live to see another day. I'm the only one that was out there doing it, but you can't be afraid. I agree with you, brother. And I think we got to take a stand, and we got to take it now. The sisters is doing it. They putting everything on the line. The brothers is walking away. What you said is very true. They'll rather get out there with the cell phones, gather around and watch you beat each other up. But let me tell you what we're not doing, right? We're not going into that white community, and we're not touching anybody of white. In fact, they can come into your community and you won't say a word. So we got to get past that point to where we got to let our brothers know that we're not the enemies. We got to stop making them think that it's all right to say, hey, man, you from this side or that side. No, we all from the same side. That's the message in my mind we got to do. And I think these panels is really important. You brothers is important for the experiences that you all have. Let's turn those experiences into stuff that these kids can take and grow from. So we got to our job is never going to be over. We're going to have to continue to fight every day, every hour for our kids, man, because we're losing them. And you all know we're losing them. They're disrespecting the women, right? And they think it's okay. And we're not saying that it's not okay. So we're really responsible for a lot of this stuff that they're doing. And you mentioned that earlier. They're really watching you. I had my son. This is the true story, and I'm gonna let the ladies have it. My son. It blew me away. I got a 14-year-old and I had an 11-year-old. We were all together, and my 7-year-old, right? So I'm riding, and I say, y'all can go to the park up the street. So they go to the park. My 14-year-old, he didn't go, but my daughter went. When they came back, he said, Dad, I was locked out. He was locked out the house, right? Do you know, he said, I heard you talking to his older brother last week, and he remembered the code to get in. I said, you got in the house? He said, yeah. I said, well, how'd you get in? He said, because I got the code. I said, well, how you get the code, right? He said, I heard you tell Darius what the code was. He's 7 years old. The 14-year-old didn't know the code, and the 11-year-old did not know the code. It blew me away. I said, man, I got to watch everything that I do and say. So please believe that these kids are smart. They're intelligent. If you got pistols in your house and you're playing with them and you're showing them around, these kids is watching. That's why it's no surprise that that little kid went in there and shot that teacher, right? He didn't just go shoot that teacher. He saw how to use that thing. I believe that because I just lived that. Well, that was a great example to show you that these kids, man, and you said it earlier, they're watching you. They're watching their mothers. And you know, as a young man, you're watching your mama. You're watching your mama more than you're watching your daddy, to be honest with you. So it's very, very important that we all be accountable, right? And step right in and do what we got to do right now, whether we lose our lives or not. I'm with you with that, brother, because I do it every day.
Thank you.
I put my life on the line every day for my community and my kids, and I don't have a problem with that, right? Because as you said, there's not enough leaders. I don't consider myself a leader. I consider myself a man with a bunch of kids, and we gotta help them.
I gotta say, you're a leader. You know, here at both sides of the conversation, we always say leadership is about demonstrating what's possible, brother, and you're demonstrating what's possible. So that's leadership. Miss Brandy, go ahead and holler at the people from the young people perspective. See, we got young people here, so we have to talk for the young people. They can speak for themselves. How you feel about the conversation, Brandy? Where you think it's going?
This is an emotional and extremely deep topic for me because from the jump of this conversation, I had to keep myself together and my composure because I come from an emotional absent father and an extremely emotional mother. So there was always conflict between the two. And parents don't realize that we see everything that's happening, whether that's if you're covering it up or if it's just something we see on the streets, we see everything. And so we constantly, if we see anything violent, we take that pain and we take that struggle and we see what our parents are going through and we document it almost. We document it. We realize what's going on, whether you think we do or we don't, whether we don't say anything or if we do. So I believe that does make an impact on children's lives. And as an adolescent growing up, I do see that it's made an impact on me personally. Not only that, but I do believe that Black people have a hard time showing their emotions because it took me 2 years to finally fess up and say that I need therapy. And that became that came from my pride. I didn't believe that I should need therapy because I believed that I could handle it all on my own. And I felt like it would be weak of me to need therapy. So a long time I pushed that off. And then when I realized that I did need therapy, I immediately went to my parents or my mom and I told her like I need that. But people don't realize that the domestic violence going on in the home, people don't realize that this is hard. People don't realize that it really does happening growing up. Children see everything and that really does make a large impact on us. I'm saying a lot, but this is really deep for me and very difficult. I'm not gonna lie. But
take your time. That's what this is about, because I keep telling y'all, healing comes in many fashions and forms. It is important that we remember communication is that healing process. If we can't release it, how do we get peace? If you can't release the anger, the fear, the pain, the hurt, the trauma, How do you think we're going to move forward? Because when we don't deal with this, it goes into every aspect of our life, in our professional realm, in the community, in our homes. That trauma shows up in so many different ways that we can't even function. See, we think we're functioning, but a lot of times we are functioning in the trauma. It is so much trauma bonding in our community. And this is why I say, and to Brandy's point, no, there's Black folks showing emotion. We just don't show the right emotions. We don't show the right affection. See, what we see in our community is the pain, the trauma, the dysfunction, and it comes out in violence, verbal violence, physical violence, gun violence. That's all we see in our community. But there's emotions. We got to tap in to the emotions of humility, compassion, understanding. Those are the things that we need to see in our community. We got a lot of work. Go ahead, brother Matt. I see you. Go ahead, brother.
No, I'm saying that's it. That goes back to, what was it? The trustworthy network that was talked about earlier. The trustworthy network. If there's no network, if there's no modeling, if there's no example, if there's no, I was gonna say earlier, this conversation is the space, because it's not happening. I saw a comment in there about it needs to be happening at the tables. When we're coming together as families, when we're coming together in those spaces, it needs to happen, but it's not happening because there's no trustworthy network. There's nothing that said I can express this safely and what's going on. I'll even go as far as maybe like with that holding, like you were saying, with that release. A lot of us are holding on to a lot of the trauma because we're still processing what's going on. You know, it's like I've been, some people agree, some people disagree. I believe there are prerequisites to therapy, because when you just go straight to therapy, I think people with this, I don't know what to call it, this new acceptance, this acceptable space to go to therapy. I think everyone goes in, just like with trauma, with their various understandings of what therapy is. And I really don't think there is a definition, yes. But for as a person, if you're oh, well, why do you go to therapy? Or why do you feel like, what do you feel is the most beneficial? I think that's a good question, but I don't think one can define therapy without the experience, right? Because it's different for everybody. Some go in maybe with what they think therapy is. I was one who early, I was against therapy because I felt everyone wanted me to go to therapy because they deemed something wrong with me and not anything going on with them. When I felt like what I was calling out or responding to were things that were happening around me. No one wanted to address the things around me. Everyone wanted me to deal with the things so that I could be better in dealing with the things around me. And my issue was, which I did not have the ability, the cognitive, the experience or the information, the words at all to explain and say, no, the issue is you have the power to shift how I'm experiencing some of these things around me. You're refusing to step up in your leadership, right? Like it's the home, it's the school, it's the thing. I shared with a teacher the other day. I was the one, I told this teacher, I got in trouble because I told my gym teacher, I was in third grade. I told him I wasn't afraid of him because of how he was approaching me. The way he was coming at me and doing all this stuff was like, and I was just looking at him like, okay, like the point is made. And I was like, I'm not afraid of you. And he called my dad to say that I told him I wasn't afraid of him. And rather than look at this courageous boy that you've complimented as being outspoken and so smart and ahead of his time and understands so much, there was no conversation about, Matt, you may not be afraid, but how you said and what you did was disrespectful. That wasn't the conversation. The conversation was, why would you say that you weren't afraid? And my response was, because I'm not afraid, right? And then I got in trouble again because I'm supposed to honor and respect. That was something that was said earlier was, man, I respect my dad, right? And that was something that a pastor told me once when I had conflict with my dad. was you don't have to like your dad. You don't have to respect all this stuff, but you should honor your father. Like honor your father for the fact that's your father. And there's the level of honor that comes with that. But in that time, like I felt disrespected. I felt that I was bringing forth something that was a mirror to my father. And in that point, he had the power to lead an example of accountability and saying, you know what, I see where my role played a part in this. And it was no, I'm the adult, I'm the father. It's a no. Like, because I'm not going to let my pride, my ego, or my trauma be unlocked and be exposed by someone, by my son, you know, but also by this younger man, you know, younger than me. That's something, you know, fellas, that ego is big, man. To really be able to sit there, teaching has really, 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 really humbled me in the sense of like how much I'm learning from them. You know, and not that I came in thinking, oh, I'm gonna teach them everything, but someone told me they're gonna teach you so much, Matt. And I've learned so much about how to approach a conversation and thinking about myself as that fourth grader. And I think there's a generation that missed the opportunity to see themselves as the child, is to see themselves and put themselves in other people's shoes and say, you know, what's it like for me to have experienced that? You know, so I think it's a lot of that. It's a lot of trauma. It's a lot of things where the conversations, that space is just not available. It's not readily available, and it's not modeled as safe for a lot of people. So this may be the space for conversation.
Space for our people.
More and more conversation.
This is definitely that space for our people. And Matt, you articulated that so well, and I think that was what needed to be said. And again, our young people, when you say, you know, these adults can't see themselves as a fourth grader because that's that unharmed, that trauma that hasn't been dealt with. So I can't see you after fourth grader because I got something dark that I got to deal with. Right? You get what I'm saying? So that's a scary place for some folks. So they don't want to see themselves in that space because they might go through what they experience. But before I pass to colleagues and Jocelyn, I want to say this because community, something powerful just happened when Brandy was speaking. Y'all don't even understand it. See, I'm very aware. I'm very aware of they, you know, people ask me and I say, see, when you in tune, you just in tune. Something powerful just happened when Danny was speaking, community. I hope you caught that. I hope you was listening to that powerful young lady. Something just happened. Community. Something just happened and y'all missed it. Brandy, very powerful young lady. When we talk about the vulnerability, the courage to speak up, this is changing the narrative, community. She has been empowered. She's going somewhere. Y'all better pay attention. This young lady is powerful. Community, we got to do our part. The conversations start now. We're changing the narrative. Something powerful just happened, community. I hope y'all caught it. Colleagues, go ahead. I know you was trying to say something to Jocelyn. We're moving around.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. So, you know, I used to always hear my grandma talk about how we getting wiser and weaker. And when you were talking earlier, John, I'm like, wow, it's true, because you hit on a lot of notes earlier about how, you know, we smart, we got all this technology. I mean, we got our phones out when fights are taking place or somebody getting CPR on the ground that's being resuscitated from getting gunshot wounds. But it's like we weak. When it comes to speaking up for where we've come from and where we're trying to go, we don't speak up. We weak. We keep our mouths shut in that area. When it comes to fighting for our children and the educational system, we weak. We don't talk about things in that area. We don't push our children in that area, but we're wise. We know how to get on these phones. We know how to do all these different things. But it's like we are so weak when you think about it, because we're looked at as being weak because back in the day of slavery, we were taught to shut up, just take the beatings and all this other stuff. Just be quiet. Don't verbalize your emotion or what you're going through emotionally. Keep your mouth shut. When we getting whoopings, don't talk. You can't talk back. You can't say anything. Just keep your mouth shut. But we're very wise now, but we're weak. I mean, that's all I really have to say at this point, because there's just so much to say. But I just want to kick it off saying, yeah, we're growing wiser, but in our reality, we're weak.
Go ahead, Jocelyn.
You know what? That's very powerful that you said that, Khalees, because that is exactly how I feel is that, when we are not able to express our emotions in a safe space, meaning that there's no judgment. John said pride, ego, you know what I'm saying? And we're not dealing with our trauma. So we don't want to express our emotions because we're going to be judged. People are going to be judged. So where do we get that? Matt talked about, hey, a modeling, how do we get this model? Well, to where we know how to have better coping strategies rather than pick up a gun or beat our children, not spank our children, but beat our children. Because most of the times I got whoopings too, but I got beatings, you know what I'm saying? Because my dad was angry because he was stressed on the job because he was going through some racism there. You know what I'm saying? So he took it home. And guess what? Yeah, I did something wrong, but I didn't have the conversation. Well, why was that wrong? It was like, you're getting a whooping today. And so we have this continual racism thing going on. At the same time, the slavery, it plays but now we have access to therapy. Yes, that could be the safe place. You know what I'm saying? Some people don't want to try it because of the stigma. I get that. But at the same time, okay, we have these platforms. Yes, Brandy, she got emotional. She was able to speak. Finally, she was heard. Someone heard her pain. And sometimes it takes that so that people can hear. The Bible says if you confess your fault to one another, you can be healed. So we need to speak to each other without judgment. That sometimes we can't talk to our homies or our parents or anything like that. So, okay, you can't. So go get you a therapist. I kicked 3 or 4 until I found the right one that would not judge me for who I am, what I look, what you know what I'm saying? So sometimes we just need to be heard. And I think a lot of this root of the violence and stuff because we hold on to our emotions and it builds up. And then eventually you blow up. You blow up in ways that you would never thought you would because you weren't able to express it. You weren't able to be heard. Like Khalees was saying, we back in the slavery time, shut up, don't say nothing, you're gonna get beat. Don't do nothing. No, you're strong Black person. We get that all the time. You're a strong Black woman, you're a strong man. So don't show your vulnerability at all. Don't do none of that because you can take it. You can fake it till you make it. I hear that in church so many times, and it just breaks my heart because I ain't faking. At the end of the day, I'm not gonna fake. This is how I feel. This is, you know what I'm saying? And no, I'm angry right now. Yes, I am angry. But see, then sometimes, how do we deal with it? Go to therapy. Go get some coping strategies. I go to therapy every week. It's like clockwork. Every Monday at 12 p.m. I get my therapy. Oh, yes, because Jocelyn needed. Because if ain't nobody want to listen to me, if I can't get through to nobody or anything like that, guess what? I get to talk it out. That way I don't have it built up. So when somebody do something wrong to me, guess what? I'm not lashing out on them. I'm not cussing them out. I'm not cursing. I'm not, you know what I'm saying? Because I got a nonprofit I'm building. I can't be going off on my people because I got issues with myself. How is that going to help the community? So that's why I got to do my work within. Because if I don't do it within, then guess what? Everything around me burns. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm not putting in the work. So yes, therapy could be the very place and platforms like this to start having, a safe space to express your emotion, to have no judgment, because that's what we need. So all I'm saying is that, yes, this was powerful. Whatever happened today, it happened because it's a place of healing. I said at the beginning, these conversations are healing conversations for our community. And that's the only way that we're going to get to the next level is to continue this. So as elders, we can encourage this. I go on my live. I don't care. I tell anybody I go to therapy. You judge me. I don't care. People gonna judge you anyways. They're gonna judge me if they don't like you. They're gonna judge me if they do like you. So at the end of the day, this is Jocelyn. If you don't like it, I'm sorry. I'm gonna still be me. But I'm gonna be happy though. I'm gonna be happy. I'm gonna be happy. I'm just happy. Okay. So at the end of the day, it's not perfect. I get my days. Don't get me wrong. I have my days. I really actually do have my days. But I thank God that I know the Savior too. So when I'm angry, I can go, look, God, you need to take care of that because, I can, if I do it, you don't want me to do it, Lord. So, I have to let go. So I have an outlet. So yes, it's going to take a combination of therapy and the relationship with God to get it together so that you can be whole, finally whole as one. So I'm telling you, I heard everyone, and it's amazing that how y'all was able to express, you without no judgment.
Very powerful stuff. Community. It might be a pill and a prayer that you need. It might just be a prayer. Maybe it's a pill, prayer, and exercise. I don't know. You got to find out what you need. You got to be willing. You got to be open to say, I need this. And sometimes it's just a conversation. They say when you cry, it's like releasing the dirty laundry out of your system. Every time you cry, you feel better. Our communities are crying. We're looking for something better. The volcano that's in our community, it is ready to erupt. Community, don't let the lava come out. Community, let's fix it. It's something brewing. Now, this Tuesday at 12 o'clock, we will be erupting at City Hall. Make sure y'all there, because we are stepping in City Hall to talk about reparations. We are stepping in here to City Hall to talk about the Dreamkeeper Initiative. We are going in the building, the very building that has caused harm to our community. And we will erupt and let them know. The harm stops today. The faking it till we make it stops today. Passing over the Black people in this city and not repaying them for the harm that was caused will end today. We will stand together because the Dreamkeeper Initiative is impacting our community. And we know once Black folks start having joy and opportunities, the enemy gets even harder at work. And they want to remove that joy from our community. But tomorrow and on Tuesday, when we stand together, the volcano is at the top of the mountain. It is ready to erupt. Community, I'll be there. I want to see all of y'all, Black faces in these spaces, because we're talking about some very important stuff. Hope to see you there. Don't be afraid to speak up on Tuesday. Don't be afraid to show up, because we show up for the wrong things in our community. We show up for the clubs. We show up for the fun. We show up for all the wrong things. Are we going to stand together, community? Y'all tell me. I'll see y'all on Tuesday. But I want to pass it over to the deacon. AR, you want to jump in there? Brother Charles and Matt, we'll swing it around. We got about 30 minutes, y'all. This is going good. I told y'all. These 2 hours will fly by. We're having fun now. We're on the roller coaster. We're rolling. The freedom train is here. AR, deacon, say something to the people. We can't hear you. AR, you got to turn your phone up or something. AR, we can't hear you. You on mute or something. I don't know what's going on. We can't hear you. No, we can't hear you, brother. You got to log out and log.
Get that together. I can chime in real quick.
Yeah, log out and come back in, brother. Log out and log back in.
I can chime in while he's trying to get it together. Thank you all for the space and for the opportunity to share. It's been real. It's been good. Hopefully it has. I'm sure it's blessed somebody, and somebody's been able to hear it and and hear both sides of the conversation. I'm tired of the narrative that I guess we're just born this way. You know, that it's just what it is. This is just how it's going to be. You talked about the leaders. Where are the leaders and what's going on and what's happening? Why isn't why aren't we as aggressive about trauma and mental health and all as we are about the other things? And I think my answer to that is it's not the popular thing. For the last few years, I've called out the social justice ambulance chasers. It seems to be whatever's going to be popular, whatever's going to be popping is where you're gonna find them. Right? What's going on? What's happening? But all these events unlock opportunities to reconnect. In every tragedy, there's an opportunity to strategize. And I always say there's no strategy before tragedy. Unfortunately, it's always I think it was AR that said it's always after. Once something happens, everybody got all the answers. They know why this happened. Oh yeah, we got the analysis. Oh well, this, and this, and that led to everything. Well, you had all that information before everything went wrong, but now it's imploded, and you got all the analysis on it. You're making money off it. You're getting followers and doing all this stuff because you want to talk about what's happening, but you don't want to solve what's happening. Not to bring it up in this light, but however you feel about the special, Chris Rock said in another special a while ago, was police want crime, right? Because if there's no crime, they don't have a job, right? And it's just it's something we should be doing, and trying to empower. A systematic solution is empowering in that modeling, that whole thing of like, nah, like maybe it is you like pulling out guns, but it's also you saying pull your pants up. It's also you saying, look, this is just, it's a conversation starter on the streets, right? I traveled a lot over the course of 5 years. I was in at least 2 cities a week, and I tried to have a conversation with the stranger all the time, just about any, hey, reading something. What's that book about? What's this about? Because that person didn't know. Someone sees me. Someone's paying attention to me. And okay, yeah, I am reading this book. I've been waiting to talk to somebody about it, right? So you just don't know. You don't know, and then you learn. Driving Uber and talking to strangers has probably been one of the best blessings over the last 7 years. Just talking to strangers and getting these experiences, but taking that into what we're saying about trauma and all. Addressing some of these uncomfortable things instead of walking about, I don't know why people, got their pants hanging down. I don't understand why the young so-and-so's got to do like this. Ask, hey, why do you have your pants down like that? Hey, why do you think like this? I told this young man back, I was doing project management. He wanted to work for me. And I was like, it's cool, but I got a question for you. He said, wait, why do you feel like the Fed's always after you? Why do you feel like they always looking at you? Like I don't see you doing anything. I don't see anything happening that's going to have anybody coming after you right now. Why do you believe that? And when they were giving their answer, they finally found out they really didn't have a reason other than this modeling that had been in front of them and telling him that they're always after him. And I said, the first thing you could do is like change how you see yourself. If you're dressed in a way and you're dressed like all the people that look like those that the police coming after, don't you think it might be to an advantage to still be up to what you're up to, which I don't think is trouble, but just change your dress a little bit? I think that would fool some people. You could have the same behavior and be dressed a whole nother way, and people they're gonna second guess what you got going on. If you're at the bus stop or you at the store and you look like you just at the store doing nothing, then I might ask you some questions. But if you dress like you at the store and maybe you're on your coffee break, maybe you came through, you're passing by, you waiting for some food. I don't know what your story is, but you don't look the part. You don't look like what I'm coming into. You don't look like the person I'm trying to stake out or something. Like, why make yourself a target, right? But embracing these conversations, right? Oh, I don't feel like doing it. I don't know. I don't have to do it that way. Cool. I'm just telling you how you can get a little advance on it. Because I know if I tell you to stop doing what you're doing, if I tell you to change up what all you're going to do is dig right into it more. But I think that if we can have a conversation, if us having this conversation about your whys and your whets might leave you a little something to asking yourself what your whys and your whets are.
Matt, I want to go even a step deeper.
Okay.
I think that was powerful what you said. I agree 100% with you. I think we got to go a little deeper.
Okay.
Maybe as community, we got to pay a little bit more attention to what the young people are saying. That kid who's so paranoid about the feds could be the first start of him dealing with paranoia. See, this is how we identify, because people always say, how do we identify when our kids, I do a lot of mentorship, and these parents ask me, John, how do I identify? Sometimes you got to listen, right? So when a kid is already showing these patterns of paranoia, because that's the first stage of it. Because when you ask them, why you think the feds is after you? Why you think the police? Why you always think somebody after you? Maybe that's the first part of schizophrenia that we missing, or maybe it's something else. How do we direct that kid to get the services that they need?
Yep.
This is where we as a community have to be intentional and make sure we are educating ourselves. And that's why these conversations are so important, so that we can be a better model of what things look like. Listening to Brandy should be an eye opener for all of the parents in the community. Young people, are we paying attention? Elders, are we listening? Our young people are telling us how they feel, what they're going through. Are we actually paying attention? The question I asked last week, do we really love our babies? Because that's the real question. Black people, do we love our babies? Because if we love these children the way we say we do, we got to make some change, elders. We got to change our behaviors, how we interact with each other, how we deal with each other. Because a lot of them are watching us and our behaviors. I'm going to just tell you, I deal with these elders in the community. I deal with these adults in the community. And I'm going to tell you right now, we have some problems in our community. So when we talk about the village, it's a village to raise the community. Our village is broken right now. Community, maybe you don't know, but the village is broken. So don't tell me about the village and how it takes the village to raise the kid. Because our village is turning these very kids into monsters in our community. This rap culture, this culture of folks telling folks to do certain things is turning our community into a danger zone. Who is the village that we're talking to, community? Let me know. Enlighten me. Because I keep hearing it takes a village. I'm trying to find out, who is the village? Where are they at? What are they doing? Because the village that I see is lacking leadership. It's lacking integrity. It's lacking character. It's lacking humility. Where are we at, community? AR, I see you back, AR. Go ahead and finish up your statement, brother.
Okay, I'm gonna touch on what you're saying right now, real quick too, though. I said this before that I think the concept of a village has changed. Because if the village is just your family, and you got family members that aren't leaders, that aren't dealing with their trauma, that aren't trying to mature, that aren't trying to, be a source of positivity. You know what I mean, for the people that they affect, then that can't be your village. You know what I mean? Because it takes a village to raise a knucklehead too. You know what I mean? So it's like the leadership that we choose to put ourselves under is going to determine the things, the thoughts and ideas and philosophy we're exposed to. You feel me? So I think the village is both sides of the conversation. I think the village is the people at school who, people, youngsters might choose to call their friends who are on a positive trajectory, right? I think the village is that one uncle or that one auntie or the many uncles and aunties and cousins who have a growth mindset to where they're not fixated on what's going on in the neighborhood. They're not worried about what is going on in the entertainment world, but they're trying to, they're going after substance, for themselves, whatever that looks like for them, right? Whatever. So I don't want to be hella vague, but you know what I mean? Like whatever success, whatever their goals look like for them, the village has to grow, especially in the age of social media. Our village could have members who are literally in a different state or country, but it's the people that we let in our ears and we give our time to, who are promoting whatever we're trying to be a part of. Then I'll say the other thing I was gonna say real quick was, I've realized, that because I've had similar conversations today earlier, kind of actually, and I realized that, you know healing and trauma, and because we could pass on trauma, parents can pass trauma to their kids, we can pass trauma to our kids, right? Like I feel like to heal, it starts with self-awareness, right? You have to be aware of the fact that you're traumatized. You have to be aware of the fact that you feel this way, how you feel, right? You have to be aware, that if you don't deal with it, it can affect you negatively and it can affect other people negatively, right? And then with that, awareness is a call to action, right? Am I going to actually do something about it, or am I just going to allow this snowball to get bigger, right? You know, y'all can hear me, right?
Yeah, we
Can
hear
Yes.
y'all
you.
hear me?
Yep.
We
Okay.
hear you.
All right. Cool. I'm on my phone. I'm not usually on my phone. It's kind of tripping out. But so I think, you know, it's important that when we had these conversations that, yeah, we look outward, you know, but it starts inward, you know, because we affect people around us, and we might be the biggest member in somebody else's village, right? And so I got to make sure that Anthony, the AR, that, you know, like the deacon, right? I got to make sure that I'm straight. I got to make sure that I'm taking my woes and my pains to God, or I'm taking myself to a counselor, right? Or I'm talking to my mom, or I'm talking to my daddy, or I'm talking to, you know, I got to deal with it in a way that's going to allow me to heal so that I'm not a cancer to somebody else, right? Because it's people that look up to me. And so if I tell them something out of spite, out of something they don't know about, I'm really mad about something else. So I give them advice that's kind of tainted, right? They're gonna take that and run with it because they respect me, right? They look up to me. I'm a chief in their village, you know what I mean, or I'm a whatever in their village, right? And so I think self-awareness is the beginning of healing for trauma in our communities. I think self-awareness is the beginning of just overall just growth, man. Like for real.
Man, that's very powerful. Community.
That's
I
it.
just want to tell y'all, this is a powerful conversation. The amount of text messages and emails that I'm getting from people in the community, like, man, this is heavy. The emotional heaviness of this conversation. You all today, your voices are changing the narrative. You are impacting people in the community. You are triggering emotions. This is a hurt. This is a pain that's in our community. It is ingrained in our DNA. Some folks are struggling with this very, very topic every day. Today, you provided them an opportunity to feel safe, to speak up. Today, community, you invited the very people who need this love. They feel it. You're moving people. Brother Charles, I know you want to say something, brother. You've been sitting there waiting patiently.
I think that everybody has said something to build our framework. We can stop asking, where's the community? How do we do it? You know, I think Matt laid it out really well. It just starts with the word engagement. If you are a Baba, if you are a elder, if you consider yourself to be a big homie, then open your daggum mouth. I'm sorry, you know, I'm right there with you, man, because this is why I engage people. You know, I purely just go up to them and talk to them, and you never know what that opens up. We may get to the trauma part, but the thing is that when you engage somebody about the football game, you don't care nothing about the score, man. You trying to get to a place where you're building the relationship so we can move on. And God help, we can get to the trauma part. Yet again, we want to get to that trauma part. We want to be able to have somebody where if we can, we shouldn't be diagnosing nobody and trying to fix on them anyways, but we should be able to build up that trust so that when we do say, go seek therapy, they listen. Man, I mean, there's so many examples of our intervention. Basically, I saw the comment too about losing the village, but we haven't lost the village. We really haven't. We just got a bunch of people that silent mouth. Right here is our invitation to get back active, help our community. Yeah, man, we got to do it one gun at a time, one tear at a time, one heart at a time. But if we work on it, I think we can get it done, man. Because I look, I hadn't said it, but I'll say it. I went to therapy too. You know, you lose a couple of jobs and you getting ready to take people out in the back. It don't always work. Something is wrong with your thinking. Your stinking thinking ain't working. So you need to just sit back and go, man, if somebody wouldn't have told me, dude, you got some stuff that you might want to talk to somebody about. Not let's just talk, but you got some stuff you might want to talk to somebody about. If somebody I didn't have confidence in didn't tell me that, I would have never got the therapy. So I think that we collectively have come up with a great framework. We just got to tell people, look, this is not a training class. This is not some program you need to pay for. Look, open your mouth. If you see somebody with their pants down, that's the first step, because you're not going to go to them in judgment, because you want them to gravitate towards you. Because as we know, just from this conversation alone, when you go up there talking about, hey, pull your daggone pants up, hey, man, they about to cut and break. So I think this is a great spot. I think that people can learn from this.
Man, very powerful stuff. Like you said, it takes us all. We got work to do, and we got to keep stepping to it. Very powerful stuff today. You know,
Bishop, can I say something real quick?
Go ahead, Deacon.
Right on. Excuse me. Charles, you just said something that was really interesting, and this is not an attack on you or older people, right? But I feel like older people, and I'm an older person than somebody else, right? So just people who are older than people that are younger, right? I feel like we got to stop trying to fit the generation and culture we come from into them. You know what I mean? Like my dad used to try to tell me about sagging and like, oh, don't wear your pants, like don't do this like this. Like, man, you missing an opportunity. You have my attention right now, and you want to talk to me about my pants. You want to talk to me about the music I'm listening to. You want to talk to me about like stuff that ultimately it affects me, but that's not teaching me how to be a man. Right? You have the opportunity to tell me something that's gonna make me go to school and be a powerful leader. And the way I wear my clothes, man, I had gold teeth, man. See, this is the thing, man. Bishop, I feel like people see me on here and they don't know who I was. They don't know who I am. You know what I mean? Like I've read books, and so I might talk a certain way, you know. But man, like what? Man, I was out there. You know what I mean? Like all of that. I didn't did all that. I didn't did all that. I didn't did all like. I'm not going to incriminate myself. You feel me? But I've done all that. You know what I mean? Like, and so like.
But AR, I gotta jump here and say this. AR, I gotta say this to you though.
Jump in, because I might jump in.
Because I gotta tell you this, because it doesn't matter where you've been. It's about where you're going. It's not about what people think or know about you. It's about what you are walking into now. This is why I tell you, you are so powerful, young brother. You are a leader. It's not about where you at. It's about where you going. The journey is now. Black folks, we know too much history, not enough future. We know too much Democratic Party and not enough Black Party. Today, AR, it's where you at today, brother. The way you step in the day is what we need. The way you speak in the day is what brings our community together. When you speak in the day gives our elders hope. Here's a young 30-year-old brother who gets it. Keep speaking, AR. Keep showing up, AR. It's not about what you've been through. It's about where you're going, brother.
It's good.
And AR, man. Hey, you know, man, a lot of times I hear that also, but, you know, I think that what I'm really trying to come across, and I didn't take this as an attack at all, man, but what I was trying to really get across is if you were in my immediate network, I would be coming at you with something more genuine, because relationships are being built on, just being true. Being really transparent. I can't come at you and talk to you about the latest SZA track or something like that I don't know. I'd be lying, and you'd see right through it. But if I saw you in passing often, man, your pants is probably the last thing I'd probably talk to you about. I'd probably ask you, man, hey, dude, who hooking your hair up? Because when I grow my afro out, I might want to go that route. I'm going to look. And I'm not trying to be funny and then, but I'm going to hook you some kind of way, because I genuinely want to connect with somebody like you, because I don't want to see you on the news. And if I don't want to see you on the news, I'm going to do my true self to connect with you. You're just like a son to me, man. And I don't want, look, man, I don't want to see no more people I know on the daggone 6 o'clock news, unless you out there the lottery winner or you just got your PhD. Man, I'm telling you the truth, man. Because see, this game, it's engagement is about building relationship. Engagement is about being able to talk cross culturally. And we can't do it if we don't know how to do it, how the enemy do it, and how our friends do it. I speak enemy fluent and I speak friend fluent. You see that already? That's all I'm talking about, man. Because I have no bone in the game. Anybody ever reach out to me and tell me that they stuck out of luck, brother? We gonna work it out because I don't want to see nobody else have to go down the jacked up roads I done went down, and I don't want to be a part of that church establishment or whatever establishment that is, where we just look at you and watch you get carted off in a doggone van going to central booking. Look, I don't have glasses for that. I don't. But thank you, AR, for your voice, brother. I really appreciate you.
Man, I like that dialogue. You had the
I
elder
appreciate you, Charles.
speaking to the young brother AR. That's what I'm talking about. We talk about bridging the gap from our elders to our young people. This is the dialogue that we need to be having. I appreciate you, brother Charles and AR, for that interaction. That's what we need. Listen to the elders. Listen to the young people. Together, we can move in solidarity. With that being said, y'all, I got to go. I just got the text message. See, this conversation is so powerful. I done lost track of time. We got to get out of here. It's getting close to that time. But before we leave today, every show, we always end with a parting word. Each and every one of our panelists, please give the community something to walk away with. This has been a heavy conversation, all right? And this conversation is going to keep going. But we're going to move around. We're going to start with Coach Bishop, AR, Brandy, and we're going to move it around, okay? Give some parting words. Give some words of encouragement. The volcano is ready to erupt. We need to give the community something. Brothers, sisters, let's give them something.
Here we go. Young man, AR, man, I love your courage, young man, and you're powerful. And man, you just got to keep encouraging people, encourage yourself each and every day that the sky is the limit for you. And you can continue, man, to be a leader, man, as you spoke so eloquently today, man, and shared your views and let us older people know what you're thinking. Because as the man just told you, man, we here to help you, to lift you up. That's what older people do for you. So you may not agree with our philosophies and how we may present it, but if you listen, you will learn something. And I'm gonna tell you right now, your courage, you inspire so many young people to get up and do what you're doing. So we want to most certainly empower you and encourage you and give you a little understanding of why we do what we do, because we were once 30. And that was part of the conversation I was having earlier. So with that being said, man, you continue to do what you're doing, man, but listen to them older veterans, man, because they got a lot of wisdom. You understand? Wisdom, and we listen to y'all because y'all the future. And we here to bring all of those qualities out of you. So I hope today we've encouraged you, man, and I've encouraged you with a word of wisdom, man, and I know you're going to translate that to your peers and encourage them, because you on the front line. Those guys that are committing these things that we all talked about today, they're watching you. You may not even know it. They may not even tell you. I'm telling you. So hopefully, man, you just keep on, man, because I'm going to be keeping my eyes on you. You understand? To make sure you doing and you leading. And if you lacking on something, man, you get on these panels, man, and you talk to us, and we'll help you. Because that's what our job is. So I hope that we encourage you, man. And the therapy, somebody mentioned about therapy earlier. When you walk in the street and you meet somebody, and maybe he's a younger guy, or maybe he's an older guy, maybe he's a black sister, maybe she's a mother or a grandmother. Don't shove that off. You understand? Because it's very powerful. We got some powerful people in the black community, very educated, right? Very street smart as well. And they just willing to give you all this knowledge, right? So I learned a lot from each and every panelist today, and I'm just gratefully honored and humbled that I could be among y'all and share my thoughts as well.
Man, very powerful stuff. Thank you, Coach Bishop, being here today. You have, and just struck a match in me today with your talking. I know we had some technical difficulties earlier, but just happy to hear you, your message, your wisdom, your love, and we're going to continue to build this up in our community. So just appreciate you, King, for being here. This is a heavy conversation for me. I'm telling y'all, man, I'm over here just as emotional as everybody else that's telling me they're emotional because we got to have this conversation, man. So the only way we could do it is we got to lead by example, and this is the way, taking the steps to do it forward. So just happy to be here. AR, the Deacon, holla at the people.
Hey, hey, what's going on? I appreciate that, Coach Bishop. Caught me off guard. Um, I love and respect the elders. I was in prison for a little while, and I always gravitated towards the older people that had sense. So I just want to acknowledge, like, I can't say I've never, but I don't today have a mindset of not wanting to listen and gain from those who have more experience than me. Like, I think I'd be foolish not to at least listen, and see what I could take, and add to what I think I know. Um, Everybody else, Charles and Matt, man, I appreciate y'all input. The BS OTC, though, y'all still my family, man. So it was good, being on the show with you guys. Everybody who was listening, I just want to encourage y'all to be fearless. To be fearless. It takes courage to face yourself. It takes courage to face something that makes you uncomfortable, whether it's trauma or just learning a new skill. So if I could say anything, I don't know the next time I'll be on here, but I just want to leave y'all with that, man. Like, I truly love this community, and when I say this, I mean Black people. I love our people. You know what I mean? Like, that's why I'm here today, because I love y'all. You feel me? And I want us to rise. However rising looks for you, that's how you rise. If you got to start with the trauma, start the trauma. If you got to start with your credit score, start with your credit score. You feel me? But start somewhere and just keep going. And that's it.
Thank you, brother Deacon, the Deacon, y'all. This is my powerful young brother AR, man. He's doing a lot of things, modeling, music, showing up to support here at Both Sides of the Conversation. Yes, he is a part of this Both Sides of the Conversation family. Don't get it twisted. Just because you don't see the Deacon every week, don't think he won't be pulling up on this Both Sides of the Conversation family. He is a part of this family. Phenomenal young man. And this is what we got to do when we have brilliant gems like AR in the community. We must keep our hands on the young brother. Elders, connect before you correct the young people. Elders, connect before you correct the young people. Elders, make sure you connect before you correct the young people. That's what I got to say, because y'all got to hear that. Connect with the young people. Don't just step in with them and start telling them their pants is down. They're doing this wrong. Connect with them first, then tell them why. Connect before we correct, elders. Young sister Brandy, the powerful, soulful, inspirational, the future lawyer who will take over and walk. She's a trailblazer, community. She's going to change the game. Young lady, give the people some love before we leave today.
Hi, everyone. Well, that was an emotional topic for me. That was extremely touchy, but I just wanted everyone to know that although you may not feel heard, someone is there for you to talk to. There's always someone who's going to listen to your struggles. There's always going to be someone who's going to hear you. And parents, I want y'all to listen to y'all kids, because sometimes when it seems like we're just acting out, it's really a cry for help. And not only that, but I want to tell kids, please listen to y'all parents, because they really do have some wisdom to give you. Don't think that they just want to go on a rant and they just want to, tell you some BS. They really mean something behind their words. But I just want to leave everyone with, I'm here personally for everybody. If anyone ever feels like they need to reach out to someone who's around their age, meaning youth, if anyone feels like they need to talk to someone, I'm here. And if there's anything that I can do to help you throughout your journey, I'm here to help you, because I feel like there are people out there who's scared to reach out and say whatever they've been through. But that's all I wanted to say. And thank you for BSOTC for having these conversations that everyone else is scared to talk about.
Wow. Very powerful stuff. Elders, listen to the young people. Don't tell me our young people aren't articulate. Don't tell me our young people aren't aware. Don't tell me they don't know how to handle themselves. You just heard from some powerful young people. Brandy is one of those young people. Peer-to-peer counseling is everything. If she's ready to give back, are you ready to give back? Let's go, community. Brother Charles, with that being said, come on, give some parting words to the community, King.
I want to first say, man, I thank y'all so much. I've been around some wonderful, positive Black people, and this panel is excellent. I listen when I can, so I'm a fan too. And but just definitely, this conversation can't end here. I think that everybody should take this as a personal message. You don't need to hear from none of us to get it started. Go to wherever you are, where you see the need is, and talk to the young people. Man, all you got to do is connect with one. Trust me, they're going to confide in you, and they are going to be able to tell you what's happening in their lives. Even if they don't tell you the whole story, no one ever needs the whole story. You just need to be able to get in that one little crevice, and you'll be able to be an influential impact to these folks. I want to again say thank y'all so much, man. Praying hands. Thank y'all so much. This is a wonderful panel, and I definitely hope that I run into y'all soon.
Man, thank you, brother, for being here. It is always a blessing to have the elders in space with our young people. It is always a blessing to have the elders in space with community. Your wisdom, your pain, the things you've been through to do your journey to be where you at. We honor and we respect that here at both sides of the conversation, even though we do a lot to call out our elders who are not leading. We always put respect on our elders' names. We always uplift our elders. They have the magic glasses that sometimes only they can see. All that we asking is when you see the vision and God blesses you, elder, well, where we going? Don't be afraid to pass the torch to the next generation. They are our future. Brother Matt, come on, brother. Give something to the people before we leave today, brother.
I was going to share what I shared with the fourth grade class. I let them know that they're building palaces and prisons, and your discipline is going to determine the route of where you end up. But I'll share it from this. One of my favorite movies is Mortal Kombat. And in Mortal Kombat, it talks about to win the tournament, you must face yourself, you must face your enemy, and you must face your worst fear. Lean in on what scares you.
Wow, very powerful. Brother Matt, I'm going to have my team reach out to you. We got to connect. I like the angle that you're coming from, brother. There's something about your little light that's shining. They say, no, it's a big light. It's not a little, it's a big light. You have a big light that is shining in you, brother. There's a calling. There's something with your energy that's saying greatness. See, I understand that. I get the vision, the bishop. I do get to see. We're going to connect, brother. There's something about you. We got to connect so that we can correct these young brothers in our community. But glad to have you here, King. You are more than welcome to come back anytime. Any one of you, all these panelists. This is what this is about. We uplifting our community. We changing the narrative from the voices of the very people. And that's what we do here at both sides of the conversation. Sister Khalees, woo, powerful sister. Go ahead and leave some parting words for the community, Queen.
Yes, this was a heavy conversation, and there's always both sides of the conversation. And so we changed the narrative. We got to change the narrative. We must change the narrative. We're going to change the narrative. Elders, don't tell me how to feel. Don't tell anyone how to feel. We have to listen. We have to break those vicious cycles of trauma and start listening more and connect with everyone. Everyone has a voice. There's both sides of the conversation. That's why we're here. This is an open platform where you could come and speak and share your thoughts without being policed. And so I'm very grateful for this platform. It's been a good Sunday. So that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Wow, very powerful. Thank you, colleagues, for being the pillar, the leader of our community, taking a chance, stepping. That's all it takes is for one person to see you move and then they move. We kept saying it all day. You never know who's watching you. There's an elder out there. There's a friend. There's somebody that's watching you saying, if she can do it, I can do it. The power of influence. Remember that, community. You have power. I'm not all into the, empowering people stuff. I hear it all. I'm not into empowering people. I want my people with the power. Give them the power. Coach, another intentional thinker, Miss Jocelyn. Give something to the community today, Queen.
Woo! So, yes, you know what? I got 3 L's. Love, number 1, is patient. We got to be patient with ourselves first and patient with others. A lot of times our youth can pick it up when we're not walking in love. They know when you judging and you know the tone. So when we work on ourselves on our love walk, we can what? Listen now. We can listen. Listen to them. I mean, Colleen said everybody has been saying all across this panel. Sometimes we just need to shut up. I'm sorry, but we'll say it plain. Shut up. Because we think we know what's right for them, but no, we just need to shut up. And the last thing is we gonna learn. We gotta learn from what they're saying, how they're. We that is how we're gonna shape ourselves to be helpful to other youth. So we need to learn from that one person that you have. But it all starts with loving that person, being patient with yourself, kind to yourself, not arrogant. Don't think it. Stop judging. We judge too fast. And that's what happens, and people are lost. So, and at the end of the day, I just want to say this: the whole panel, just to see all the men here are sharing their feelings, their emotions, how they felt. I just want to say that is amazing. We don't get to see that all the time, and the fact that you guys were able. Now, this is the model, So when people watch it, this is how it looks like when men share their ideas, their thoughts, without having to cuss and fuss and fight and shoot. So this is what it is. So I am just so thankful to be here today. And I just love the unity that's in this broadcast. So I'll go ahead and hand it off to the bishop because I know he got the close.
I think she said the thing that I'll be telling people that. So you gonna give me a challenge, Johnson? I tell them sometimes you just gotta shut up and listen. I'm always telling people you just gotta shut up and listen. That's my favorite rant. I'm always telling somebody shut up and listen. Okay, but today has been very powerful. It has been very emotional, up and down roller coaster. But today you have seen a display of what we need in our community. When you see the elders lift up the young brother AR, when you see the brother Matt articulating the thing that young people are dealing with, man, today this is powerful. When we talk about love, encouragement, and listening, this is what it's all about, man. These conversations are powerful. I'm just full of emotions right now. I don't know. See, they said I had ADHD, and I think it's just excitement. I get excited when I get around people who empower, as they say, empower. I don't like power. I like people who bring power and encouragement to the community. It always gets me excited because I know there's some freedom fighters out there, and I want to walk with you all. The bishop, yes, I like to walk with the freedom fighters. I want to walk with the man who walks with their head up and their back stern and they 10 toes on the ground, and they're not afraid to put it all on the line for the very people that we say we step in front of. Walk with me, community elders. Walk with me, queens of the community. Our voices will be heard, and we will stand in solidarity. But with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and let everybody get ready to get out of here. But y'all know before we end every show, I have to give a benediction to the people because any great bishop. No, I'm not ordained, okay? I know people are, well, you are ordained. No, I'm not ordained, but I am the bishop of the people because they gave me that name. So I take that with great responsibility because they say I'm always preaching, I'm always teaching, I'm always shouting like I'm in a pulpit. So I might as well take the name, but I'll take it, community. And I have ordained my brother AR as the deacon. And he's learning. So we're going to go ahead and make sure that community, y'all hear it. So with that being said, every great bishop has a towel. I'm sweating. I'm over here patting. My water is going. I'm going to give the benediction. So with that being said, today has been a conversation that is much needed in our community. This is not the last conversation. We will continue the conversation. You heard me earlier say, in order to change, we have to control that pet. That pet? What are you talking about, Bishop? The PET, yes, that pet We must unleash and we must tighten down on the choker of that. You know, when you walk the dog, you can adjust the leash so it can't go so far, or you can make them closer. But I'm talking about the PET, that is you, your pride, your ego, your trauma. You have to control that if you want to see a different outcome. Because if not, you heard the interchangeable conversation today. The conversation was the trauma can cause violence, and we know the violence will cause trauma. So if you don't control the pet within you, you might be the next person in our community committing a violent act or perpetrating that trauma on somebody else. Do your work. And that works looks like a number of different ways. It can go many ways. Sometimes it's group therapy. Sometimes it's one-on-one. Sometimes it's a platform. You must find out what you need. Sometimes it's a pill and a prayer. Sometimes it's a prayer. You must find out what you need, community, today. The mirror is in your face. Look at it. What do you need? How are you controlling that PET in you? If we don't control the pet, our community is going to suffer. I heard it earlier today talking about the different issues that continue to impact our community. If we don't get a hold of the things that we need to do, the volcano is going to erupt. Black people in our community, there is a volcano that is going to erupt. If we don't take the time to deal with our trauma, our pain, our PTSD, the things that impact us, if we don't get in control over this, the volcano will erupt. And everybody knows when the volcano erupts, lava goes everywhere. Everybody is impacted. Sometimes our trauma, sometimes our hurt is that very lava that spreads out to all of the community, putting everyone in danger, putting everybody in a place of unsafety. Make sure today, after today's conversation, elders, you take the time to listen to the young people. They are crying out for attention. Make sure you are paying attention, listening and looking at the signs. What's going on? Don't just be ego-driven. Don't just be the one that's so stern that you ain't listening to the very young people that have a lot to say to us. It is our job as elders to not be disciples. Lead, pay attention. We have to be the examples. Make sure after today's conversation, you are having a conversation with your very family about the state of their mental health, about the traumas, about the violence. How does it impact them? Make sure you, men in the community, are not letting your ego cause trauma in someone's household. Make sure you are not the perpetrator of the violence in the very homes that you say you love. We have to protect our queens in the community, because that violence, it impacts our young people. Y'all heard from Brandy today. She talked about it in depth. What is seen is sometimes the things that hurt us. Sometimes the confusion of not knowing, pain, love can be the very distraction that trigger our young people to be something that they don't need to be. It is us, elders. We must stand up and continue to fight for the very community that we say we love so much. Don't be in silence. Make sure you are speaking up. Next time you see a young person on the bus, say hello, greet them, connect with the young people before you correct the young people. Teach them. They might don't know. They might not got the home training that you was received. Educate them. Have a conversation. Don't just tell them, explain to them why. That's where we have to go as we try to continue to uplift and lead our community. This conversation, it's been up and down. It's an emotional topic. When we talk about the triggers and we talk about the things that impact us, when we talk about going back to our youth, going back to memory lane, understanding some of the things that impacted us, why we are where we at, why is our community going through the things that we've gone through? It's because we haven't took the time to pay attention and listen to what's going on, so that we can have the right response, the right corrective ways to fix it. And the stigma started from our churches, but our churches have come around, community. They are encouraging the therapy. They are encouraging mental health. It was a time when the churches said if something was wrong with you, you had the devil in you. It was a negative connotation, but our pastors, they are innovative. They understand what's going on. Sometimes it takes time. But now together we walk in solidarity on this thing called mental health. Yes, You have to do your work. Make sure you have your conversation, whether it's weekly, monthly, whatever you need. Please make sure you take your mental health seriously. The trauma is going to continue if we don't put a stop to it. It starts with all of us. Be the encouragement. You be the next leader of the community. Demonstrate what is possible. Make the next best decision. When the young people are watching, make sure you walk in an example. That's what needs to happen. With that being said, community, thank y'all for being here in space with us today. This has been powerful. It's been uplifting. It's been enriching. It's full of power. But the time has come. We must leave now. Do your work, community, as you walk away. Have the conversation. Talk to the young people. Talk to your son, your daughter, your granddaughter, your grandson, and let them understand it's okay if you have emotions. But make sure that they have a space where they can tell you what's going on without no judgment. Don't just be frustrated. Lead by example, community. With that being said, our next live show is this Tuesday. We'll have another segment of our hidden gems. We got some phenomenal gems coming on this week. So please make sure you tune in and follow us every Tuesday at 7 p.m. as we continue to highlight all of the amazing businesses, all of the amazing organizations, community leaders, folks that are doing positive things to impact our community. This Tuesday, we'll have a few more on there. Come check them out. Find out who they are, what they're doing, how you can help support them. And then this Thursday, we'll have another phenomenal conversation on our Educational Thursday. Resources, all of the job loss, all of the things that's taking place. There's some resources. You're going to get educated this Thursday, how to connect, how to get some of those services. So we are looking for that. But the major thing, community, this Tuesday, I want to see you in San Francisco at City Hall on the steps at 12 p.m. as we talk about reparations, as we talk about the Dreamkeeper Initiative. Make sure you are a part of history. Don't sit back. Make your voices heard. This is our time to stand together in solidarity. I hope to see you because I'll be there standing with the people. Y'all already know, wherever the people be, I will be. I am the bishop, and I love my people. With that being said, good evening, everybody. Be blessed now. Be safe out there. The rain is still coming down. Drive slow. Save a life, okay? And we'll see y'all this Tuesday on our next live show. Have a blessed evening, everybody. All power to the people. Y'all already know. We are changing the narrative. Have a blessed one.